Okay, so we continue to go to the ThoughtWorks technology radar from 2023 May. And another items, other platform is contentful, and they say here also to adopt. So they recommend to use it. They recommend the concept behind contentful. There are a few others tools that do that, but I think that it's interesting to understand what contentful does, and then to think whether it's something that you need, it's something that you now think that is missing, though, now that you know that this kind of thing exists. Okay, so let's read this, explain, and briefly look what is contentful. So contentful under platforms is adopt. So they actually recommend to use it. So it's a headless content management system that have become a common component of digital platforms. By headless, we mean no user interface. So I don't know contentful. Maybe they have some default user interface, but the main target is that it's a content management system. So if you have like content that you present, could be a website, could be documentation, could be a shop, basically content, right? Content that is usually presented in website, could be an internal website, external, and you need to manage it. So it's a CMS, content management system. So all this WordPress, where you enter a blog and then you see it, you enter a product and then you see it. Basically, why write code when we can have a content management system? You add a product, you remove a product, you add a blog, you remove blog. So the thing with those systems, with the standard CMS, is that they are not code friendly, not code oriented, because they are oriented toward people who can't code. So they said, okay, let's create them content management system so that they can enter the products, actually write the content and enter it just as a normal user, just like you write an email, right? You open the browser, you write the email, and you send it. So with headless content management, this means it's mostly focused on APIs. So it's targeted, and this is helpful. And why is this helpful? Because sometimes you need to publish your content through an API, right? You want to publish your blog post through an API such that it would be automatic, because now let's say that we have all these AI helpers that can write blog posts. So you want to take the blog post that the AI helper wrote and publish it to the website. So it would be nice if there would be an API to automate this whole process for you. Or maybe you have an old documentation system and you want to transit it into a new documentation system. So it would be nice if you could use an API, go to all documentation automatically and publish it. You want a model to change the prices on your web page. So it would be nice if it could access the content management system and not a human that logs in, sets the price from $6 to $5. So it gives you automation. So you see the motivation behind headless content management system. So headless management content systems have become a common component of digital platforms. Contentful is still our default choice in this space, but new entrants like Strapi have impressed us too. We particularly like contentful API-first approach and implementation of a CMS code. It supports powerful content modeling primitives as code and content model evolution scripts, which allow it to be treated like other data store schemas and enable evolutionary database design. So it's not only just an API that you publish, you actually manage the schema of what you have over there. Practices like standard programming practices. I'm expecting here to see now, and you can unit test your test. Practices to be applied to a CMS development. Recently, Contentful has released an app framework to write apps that make it easier to adopt Contentful individual business processes and to integrate with other services. App can be built and for a specific organization, but Marketplace of apps is emerging too. So they have now a marketplace of apps probably that you can embed. Let's say that you want to show a graph. So you would have an app for a graph. So this looks interesting, this contentful, especially if it's extensible and widely used. I think that XWiki also reminds it. Maybe XWiki is something of the past, maybe less of an APIs, but over there you also had many plugins. So let's see what Contentful is. Let's click this and go to it. Okay, so we go directly to Contentful FAQ, because this is where you can learn. I mean, in the main website, you will just see all the marketing and stuff. So is Contentful a website creation tool? This is the first question, probably the most common. Yeah. We provide you with a content infrastructure for your projects. If you are building a website, you can use Contentful to manage its content. To create a website, you will either have to code it yourself and load content from our API, or work with an end agency, freelancer, or someone who can develop the website for you. Contentout is the platform where you can update content of your website or mobile app or any other platform that displays content. So it looks like it's fully headless, not even a default UI. We save you time and hassle to create your own backend to manage the content, and provide many tools which make it easier to actually generate a website or an app. Being a presentation layer agnostic is one of the strengths of Contentful. Okay, so they don't want any presentation layer. They just want the API, so it's fully generic. As you will be able to reuse your content across platforms. Creating your content delivery platform in 2 steps, setting up Contentful and separately developing it, might sound like a lot of work, but it's the most effective way of properly publishing content, especially across platform. In doing so, you gain freedom to publish content to any platform while still being able to change their look and feel at any given time. There's also more information on how to use content in HTML pages. Can I use Contentful without writing code? Yes, you can create and organize content without writing code. Building websites, apps, and other experiences require actual programming though. Contentful is a platform whose interface was designed so that everyone, so you probably have something like maybe like an admin interface or back office interface where you can update the things, like Swagger we have, but something more user-friendly. Probably. I don't know if this is public, but probably this is what it sounds. What is the difference between Contentful and CMS? The problem with content management systems, CMS, is that they are created around one type of content. They are optimized to display, which is usually a website. Most CMS became simple web publishing tool instead of general content management systems. They offer pre-existing content models that narrow the possibilities and are very coupled to one presentation layer. Contentful, on the other hand, is a 3-step process. First of all, you define the content model, which is independent from any presentation layer that defines what kinds of content you want to manage. In second step, you and internal or external editors can manage all of the content in our easy-to-use and interactive editing interface. Last but not least, we serve the content in a presentation-independent way, and you can take the content and create engaging experiences around it. Contentful is therefore completely adapted to your needs. Here are some of the features that can make content itself special. Content infrastructure, or CDN, takes care of delivering content. I find this promising because it takes all the backend and all the API work and everything, and you just need to deal with the presentation. It looks good, like all the servers, all the data management, versioning, the schema. I mean, you still need to manage the schema, but you have a place, or someone already created it. Manage flexible content models. No predefined content models, uncluttered UI, tested to achieve the best result. Contentful offer you a beautiful yet simple user interface. We care about auto experience. This is the web experience, but for the back office, the ones who enter the content. Mobile and web, all with the same system. Our API lets you deliver content, for mobile and web. What kind of content can you manage? But short answer, any. Be it video, music, images, text, code. This is very strong. You can manage all types of content. What do I have to do to get my content published on our app? First, create your content model, add entries and assets, deliver content with our API. Which browser? All the browsers, maybe not Internet 11. What is contentful? Infrastructure. Yeah, so looks good. What's the connection to Node.js? We continuously maintain and upgrade our tools to ensure compatibility with the latest Node.js. What if I don't want to use Node.js? Contentful stops supporting Node.js versions when they... How did a Node.js get into here? Didn't we say that they serve everything on the API? To ensure compatibility. Find more. Okay, so they have some Node.js here. Yeah. Okay, so this was about Contentful. Would be interesting, I think, also maybe to see the pricing. Yeah, let's look just at the pricing and finish this. So free for developers and marketing building individual projects. Free includes 5 users, 4 standalone roles, 2 locales. Okay, so for private or testing, it's free. 5 users. I don't see here limit on the number of pages or something, which is good. But we have like one space. Basic, for teams. Includes 1 intro space license. It's becoming not pricey for a company, but this is pricey for an individual. So it's not built for, doesn't look for individuals. Plans include 20 users for standard roles. Yeah, so premium for organization being custom per year. Yeah, so let's see what's the max plan. What the max plan holds. What does the max plan has? Thousands of users. Okay, this is if you have thousands of users that need probably not to access the website, but to update information. Custom number of roles, access to customer success, governance feature, compliance and security. Yeah, if you're an enterprise and you want to use Contentful, then it looks like you will need to enterprise the premium. Yeah. It looks like as a company, you would default to this one with all the SSO and stuff. Yeah, but this would manage all your content, yeah. An alternative that I could think of is free tools like XWiki and stuff, and check if there are open sources, but this is the main one. I mean, once all the content also is built into the API, this means that it's going to be easier to convert into another system. I mean, it's probably worth paying this price because this would handle all the content, right? So it's worth paying this price, probably. Yeah, it's not said what is the price here, but it's probably worth it for a company. And also, maybe sometime if you want to move or something, then it's in an API. You can fetch all the content in an API and just move it to the next system, be it Notion, whatever. Okay, so this was about the recommendation of ThoughtWorks to use Headless CMS. They recommend to adopt it, and to use it. I think maybe one of the reasons that ThoughtWorks would recommend to adopt it is because they are consultants. So they go to a company, consult, and I'm not sure how much time they stay there. So we need to take this into account also, that they want to solve a problem and not necessarily, I think, not necessarily be there in 10 years, right? So these are solutions. These are solutions to problem. I can't be sure if this would be the solution for a long term, right? Like 10 years, but then again, who thinks about 10 years, right? We're thinking about shortening amount of times. And also we have the advantage that we have here the API. So we can always export things and move to another place. Once we have this, in control, then we can do everything. Okay, so this was about Contentful and the recommendation from ThoughtWorks.